Here we go. Hey, Ms. Scarpelli, how's it going? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited for spring break.
Yes, that I think all of us are ready for spring break at this point. So thanks so much for meeting with me today. Not like you have a huge choice in the matter. You're stuck in my classroom all day. The last time we discussed your lessons and the last time you taught a lesson, we set a goal of shifting agency from yourself more towards your students by planning more student-centered activities and including more structure. I noticed how you met that goal and you continued to meet that goal by giving students a visual timer during their individual practices and sometimes during warm-ups. How have visual timers on the board impacted your students' engagement levels?
When I put a timer up on the board, the students are able to look up at it and allocate their time more wisely than just not seeing it and be like, oh, we have 5 minutes. But they can't, no, you can't tell what 5 minutes is. I can't. So they have it right in front of their faces. They know that they need to lock in and do their work and not be chatting with their peers. They need to be responsible for their own work, as well as seeing that time on the board. It helps with classroom procedures. When the bell, or not the bell, the timer goes beep, 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 the students automatically know and they associate that sound with the ending of the cycle and they move clockwise to the next station by themselves because we've really implemented it in their classroom procedures.
Absolutely. Especially what you said about stations. Having a visual timer is so important for stations, and I'm glad to see that you have fully implemented that. Not in just when I plan the lesson, but also when you plan the lesson, you also implement the timer. Have you noticed a difference between when you use a visual timer and when you don't?
Yes. For stations, it's just like secondhand nature to use a visual timer, but sometimes when we're doing our mapping activities or coloring and allocating like different times for each one, yes, I would have the timer on my phone, but I would always have students be asking me how much time do we have left, or they wouldn't be using their time wisely, and they would be kind of off task.
5 minutes to a kid is like,
It's like
30 days.
Yeah. 5 minutes, and then they're like, oh, cool, chatting time, because they don't have the timer in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am really happy to see your success in using the timers and using, especially the big visual ones with the irritating alarm at the end that always gets them going. And in your stations, the transitions have just been so smooth. You barely even have to say anything at this point when you're facilitating station activities. The timer goes off, they wrap up whatever they're doing, and then immediately just silently rotate to the next station. And I heard what you said about implementing it into the classroom procedures.
Last call for buses, last call.
Students waiting by.
Bye, happy spring break.
All right. So today I want to dive into the topic of pacing. I know that this is something that we've mentioned in quick informal chats after class periods, but I wanted to bring it up in a formal way. So pacing is a really important part of classroom management. I know that it can seem like, pacing is just something that we plan in our lesson to keep everything flowing, but it also plays a huge part in classroom management. Good pacing within a lesson can reduce the risk of disruptions, it can eliminate downtime, and actually increase the amount that students retain from content. During our warm-ups, specifically in classes with high engagement, I have extracurricular activity kids coming in, and you gotta tell them to chill and wait. Hey Mark, I'll be out there in just a couple minutes. Can you just chill out here, and then if anyone else comes by, just tell them the same thing. Thanks, buddy. Alright, sorry about that, Ms. Scarpelli. So, like I said, during our warm-ups, especially in classes with actual high engagement, not the classes that like just sit there when you tell them to talk to your partners, but the classes that actually talk. I've noticed that you really, really dig in deep when you do warm-ups with each partner pair. You go to them, you sit with them, you ask them all the important questions, and you make sure that they understand and have mastered the content. I think that is awesome. However, I want to ask you, what do you notice about what happens after you leave a group of kids?
I think that the problem with that is once you finish up with the group and they've answered all the questions, they got it, you know they have it, you go to the next one, they just start chatting. Which is fine in hindsight, but if I have that tendency to go to each group, that's a good chunk of time where all the kids are just like kind of off task and letting time for like maybe disruptions or they're just not on task, they're chatting while I'm actually working with the group. But I do like checking with all the groups because it helps me form like a formative assessment.
Yeah.
And checking in and being like, where are we at today? What should I touch base with during the warm up? Because if y'all know everyone knew about blah blah blah, I don't really need to go in depth with that for misconceptions.
Absolutely, and I'm not suggesting that you don't visit with every group because that's something that I've really, really admired about your teaching, that you do make an intentional effort to visit every single group of kids to make sure every kid knows the knowledge. So I have another question about that topic then. What do you, if you're working, let's say on the left side of the classroom, but you have a group of really high level students on the right side of the classroom, what do they normally do once they've already discussed the warm up and you're still on the left side?
Depending on the type of students, I know we said high level, but depending on the type of person they are, sometimes they just put their head down and just disengage, or they get really chatty, which is fine. I'm glad that there's like social interactions and everyone's friends. But yeah, sometimes it just leads to other groups that haven't finished their conversations and I haven't talked to yet or got them on topic, to get into other conversations besides the warm-up.
Absolutely. I want to show you a video of a 7th grade math teacher who has a really similar warm-up style to you. She visits with every single group. She makes sure that the kids all know the questions. And she has, just like you do, you have data-driven questions from the previous day on your warm-up slide. She does the same thing. The content might be different, but what I really want you to look for as we play this video is her structure during the warm-up and how she keeps track of her own time.
Yeah.
So it's on the other computer. I'm going to pause this recording and I will show it to you. There's a table there. Someone said it today, like, I always bump into this table, and a kid said, "There's a table there, mister," after I bumped into it. I think it was Nevea. I said, I told her, I couldn't see it from all the way up here, not a problem you have.
No, because I'm thinking, because they're so easy to move that I know that they're there, but I know that I can just hit it.
Yeah. So anyways, with that video, what did you notice about the way that the teacher, how the teacher created structure for herself during the warm-up? Let's just say the teacher, yeah.
The teacher uses her phone and sets a timer for how much time she gives herself with a group. She also matches the timing in like maybe like 2 minutes, a minute with the group with the speed of what she's talking about and how the speed of questioning and the kids match her energy. If she is just going 10 different directions, not getting straight to the point, the kids are just going to either zone out or not get to the point either.
Absolutely. There has to be a sense of urgency, right? If there's not a sense of urgency when you're with the group, they're not going to come at you with a sense of urgency either. I think you said it so perfectly earlier before I started the video. Like you have to match. They'll match your vibe. And so if you're coming at them and it's really chill, laid back, then they'll also be chill and laid back. But if you're like, okay, guys, we gotta move quick. What is yada yada yada? Like find X or whatever. If it was math, then they think, oh hey, like this is we got to do this. Yeah. It's showtime.
Completely.
So, what was the main difference in the warm-up pacing between that teacher and yourself, and what practices can you implement in your own teaching?
I believe that I can do a better job at utilizing like my phone or my watch and keeping myself on task. It depending on if it's the morning or midday, I sometimes come at a sense of urgency, but sometimes I feel like that might stress kids out,
That's true.
depending meeting at whoever I know I'm meeting them at, wherever they are. But I definitely can emphasize like, okay, this is a quick warm up. We're not doing the lesson. We already did this.
Mhm.
It's just a warm up. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's just like putting that in my own head.
It's a reteach, not a first-time teach for them, so they should know it, and so we can. But I agree with you where you said that you have to be mindful of the vibe. 1 second, what is this teacher calling? Okay, I'll answer that in a second. So really quickly to close out, your action step today is to, and so this is what we're going to improve on specifically to then, the next time we meet, we want to have completed this step. So your action step today is to streamline your questioning by limiting the amount of time you spend with each group.
Okay.
We're going to try limiting the time to 30 seconds.
Okay.
30 seconds, which is short. And
That's when I need my timer.
Yeah, so we're going to use a timer for this. And we'll adjust the time as we need to. But we're going to start at 30 seconds. And you can do this with a handheld timer, your phone, watch, whatever you need. I can help you as well. If in a certain class period, maybe one class period a day, I'll stand in the back and I'll time you in each group instead of working with a different set of kids. And so that way it helps you practice. Okay, 30 seconds. What does that feel like? 30 seconds. What can I get done in 30 seconds?
Okay. Awesome.
So the goal of this is to create the illusion of speed for the kids. I know that you won't be able to get to the same level of in-depth questioning that you have been, but it is a warm-up, and it should be a reteach. And so hopefully the kids will already know the stuff. If we need to increase the time a little bit to have more in-depth questioning, awesome, fantastic. But I think 30 seconds should be doable, and we'll see how that goes. When would be a good time for us to practice this when we get back from spring break?
During our warm ups. Single day.
Every single
Yeah.
We can do this every single day, yeah. Absolutely. Now the first couple of days back might be a little tricky.
In the interim.
There's the interim and everything, but I think that especially once we start our reconstruction unit, that'd be a good time. So Ms. Scarpelli, thank you so much for your time today. I hope that you're able to reflect a little bit, and I want to affirm you that you have been doing really, really well. And I know some of our kids are really difficult, but you have been soldiering through. So
thank you.
kudos to you.
It's been an awesome time with Mr.M being my mentor.
Okay.
Thank you.